everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. It's great to have you here today. Thank you all for being here today. Happy Tuesday. I woke up this morning thinking it was Wednesday. I don't know. And I was talking to someone earlier and she was laughing because I was saying, I had this appointment on Thursday, this meeting actually. And she was kind of laughing because she said, Lisa, it's only Tuesday. So I've been working hard. I'm exhausted. I need a little vacation because I'm working on a project, and it's an exciting one. It's in reference to my third book and some things that's going on with that. And it's like having all these ideas, and then you have them all written out, on a table. And it's like pieces of the puzzle that you want to put together so you can see the picture real quick. And every time I sit down and try to, put these pieces together, there's something with the phone or some other stuff. So it would be nice to be able to go away for a couple of days where I can just get it done, but it's going to take a little bit longer than I expected. But anyway, I'm here. And as I told you guys, I'm going to show up here as often as I can to give you messages, to uplift you, encourage you guys. How's everyone doing today? How are you guys doing with the messages and the information? Are you still sharing it with other people? Please continue to share because other people need to hear the message and be motivated and uplifted. We all can do this if we work together. This is not a one man show. This is everybody helping one another. And, I don't feel like cheery every single day, but I do things to put myself in that cheery mood. And I'm going to share that with you today. The topic of discussion today, I have a note here, is the world of healing. We're going to talk about it because none of this is easy. And sometimes we get up on the wrong side of the bed. We don't feel well, blah, 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 blah. I was like that this morning until I was able to have my coffee. And then what I do every day is I listen to videos. I'm going to give you guys some more tips here. Um, Videos on self care, self love. Listen to those, Google them. YouTube has a resource of information. And not only information, but motivational tools here, motivational videos. So, you guys, when you start feeling that you don't feel well, you don't want to do this, or the anxiety or the depression kicks in due to the grief, due to the loss, etc., um, click on a video, find a video to uplift you. Mostly, I listen to videos on self love because that was one issue I was having for a long time, besides everything else. But self love is so important, because when you love yourself, you're not going to put up with any, you know, negativity. At least you're going to limit the toxicity in your life because that's important to your healing process. It's so important. Many of us are the same in some ways and different in other ways, and what that means is that, you know, we share certain things in common, like children, spouse, and certain other and work, things like that we share in common. And then we're different in our own ways through our personalities and the things we like and do not like. But we are the same in a lot of ways. And one of the ways that we all are the same is when grief strikes us, due to the loss of a loved one or even a tragedy, where it can leave us with anxiety, depression, and grief. And there's ways to get through it. And we're going to keep talking about ways of self care. It's important to self care when you have this happening. And I learned different ways, more and more ways to self care because there's days I get up, I don't feel like doing anything. I just, like I tell everybody, Sunday is still a hard day for me, Sunday nights. And I try to do things to help me through it, which is not easy. Because Sunday was always like a day where mom used to cook and make a big meal. If anyone have families like that. You know what I'm talking about. And that's no longer here. And what I'm noticing, a lot of matriarchs of the family who kept the family together and made dinners and made sure everybody was solid and what they needed to do, etc. Those individuals are dying off. They're no longer here. And it makes me sad, you know, like when I watch the Waltons and I see everybody live together, including the grandparents. And when problems occurred, everybody pulled their own weight. They pulled their weight and they all, you know, did everything together. And it's the time we live in today is different. It's not like that. You know, it's a lot of fake love, fake friendship, fake relationships, fake whatever. And it's not the same anymore. And so in order to get through these things and to take care of ourselves, you know, because add grief on top of all that other stuff. And it gets difficult, you know, to the point where you just have days where you just don't feel like doing anything. Google videos on self care and videos on self love, you know, and that's going to help you as well. And also videos on how people get through grief. I also want to mention, as I always mention here on this channel, I'm sharing ways with everyone through this channel on how I get through the grief because of so much loss, especially during the shutdown, and also being a 9/11 survivor, you know, trauma from that as well. Therapy, you know, is one I do weekly therapy with my therapist, and it helps a lot. And talking out these things, crying when, you know, it's necessary. All these things are an outlet for the pain. It doesn't mean you're weak or slow or whatever. It's not. Your body needs to release that pain. It needs an outlet. So crying, you know, sometimes being in isolation, um, talking about it helps. Even though the Passover loved ones are no longer here physically, you can still keep their memory alive through conversation, even if that's with a therapist or if you have a close friend or someone who will just support you. We can't bring them back, but we can listen and we can show that we care about the person who's going through that. That's so important because if not, and if that person stays stuck and isolated, they can become stagnated. And then that can lead to depression, which can lead to suicidal thoughts. And we don't want anyone in that energy. We want to help rise or raise the energy, you know, from that. And it's not easy. And I do things to raise my vibration so I'm not in that low vibration. And I do that also through affirmations every day, you know, positive affirmations. You know, when you love on yourself, it doesn't mean to be in love with yourself, but you love yourself enough to know that you're worth it and you're worth the better things in life. And that you know that you need to get through this grief period. You never get over it, but you can get through it so that you can function and, you know, love on yourself and take care of your physical and mental health. That is a priority. And then everything else you can take care of afterwards. It's so important, people, because if you don't take care of your physical and mental health, it suffers. And then everything else around you suffer. So let's keep this channel going. Let's keep helping others, you know, telling them about these videos because someone somewhere and a few someones need to hear this. And also for those who are in different states, whatever state you are in, please Google a therapist. You know, you don't have to have everyone in your business to let them know what you're doing. That's personal and private, and it's for your health. Just like you go to a PCP, you know, to get a checkup to see how your physical health is. You also have to take care of your mental health. And your mental health is affected the most when you lose a loved one or you experience some type of tragedy in your life or trauma, you know, and it's an outlet also to talk about these things. You know, when we go through these things, we need an outlet so it can pass through, the pain can pass through instead of sitting there and being stagnated within us. And I talk a lot about that because it can create damage, you know, to our physical body as well as our mental health. And not only should you know, I'm saying to Google a therapist, but also Look into bereavement groups because there are people there at those groups, and you don't have to attend in person. You can do it by Zoom, and you're going to hear stories of other people who are going through the grief situation just like you are. And you may find out what they're doing to cope and to get through it. It's so important. And like I said, it's not a one man show. We all have to be aboard, to help one another. And it's so important. I have notes here. One of the things I want to say, even though things change in some ways, they stay the same. This world is moving at a faster pace than ever. Time is going by, and it seems like time is flying faster each year. It's going by even faster. So if you're in a state of grief, don't let so much time go by where you're not connecting with other people or where you're not getting the help that you need, because time is of the essence, meaning that the more time you let slip by, the more um, depression can slip in and other things that can affect your physical and mental health. So it's so important to do this. And like I said, there's no shame to this because we all need help at one time or another. Even myself, I still talk to my therapist. I still have moments where the grief is triggered because I see something, and I was looking at something the other night, and it kind of made me a little depressed because um, my grandparents had a huge home on their property, and they had animals because they had a farm, and now when I look, I see none of that is there anymore. Of course, they're no longer here, but just knowing that the whole environment, including the store that used to be down the road from their house, they I think they sold it because it's under another name now. Everything, and this is why I made that statement. Even though things change, they stay the same because um they have a smaller home there, but it still reminds me of the farm and everything they had when I was growing up. And it makes me sad because they're no longer here either, along with my mother. And it just makes me appreciate the things that I do have in life today. Because, if I could have another moment with my mom and my grandparents, I probably would do things a little differently. But, you know, I don't have that. So, and I get depressed about that at times too. But I don't let myself stay in that depression. I pick myself up and I keep going, and I do that through music, through, talking with my therapist about this is how I'm feeling today, or et cetera, and so forth. And then I put on some, if not music, positive affirmations related to grief, what I'm going through, and listen to that. And self love, little by little, and don't give up. Keep going, keep going. Even if you have those days where you didn't get to do what you wanted to do because you laid around because of grief, let yourself feel that pain, but don't stay in that place of pain, you know? And when you feel yourself staying in that place of pain, get yourself up. And, even if you listen to a video to uplift your spirit, it's important. One day at a time. It's like when you're teaching someone to ride a bike, right? They don't get on and ride the first time. They have to fall a few times before they can get on and actually ride. Well, this is how this process is with grief and healing. It's an ongoing thing, but never give up and never give in. It's so important. And it's okay to talk about. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We all are human and we all go through things. But when we lift one another up, then we can pass that on, you know? So please share these videos here with other people who need to hear it. And they can watch, they don't have to say what they're going through, but they can hear the message. Because if I can do these things, especially with all this loss and being a 9/11 survivor and going through a whole bunch of things that, you know, I never suspected to go through. What doesn't break you will make you stronger, right, people? What doesn't break you will make you stronger. And continue to move forward. Don't ever give up on yourself and your healing and your your self-love and self-care. More importantly, to take care of yourself, even when you're going through the grief and the hard times. It's so important. And if you have someone to talk to, just to sit there and listen to your problems, that's a plus. That's a huge plus. Because when I was going through these things, the big part of it, when it first happened, I didn't have anyone really to talk to, you know, and I put myself into therapy. I mean, I had one person, but, they were going through their own situation. But when you have that therapist, you share, and it's an outlet and it helps you, you know. You're going to have your good days and then you're going to have your bad days, you know, but just never give up, don't give up on yourself in your healing. That's so important, and helping other people help you as well. Like if you have someone in your life that may need some kind of help and you take them to the grocery store, like an elderly person, or doing things to help them, that helps you as well. Lifting other people up. I have learned to turn this pain into a purpose, turning a purpose into power, and that power to be here to help other people so that they can pay it forward and we can continue to help people who need help to heal from grief, and know ways to use that pain as an outlet so that they don't stay stuck within it. That's the message here today. Please send me an email letting me know what other things related to grief and healing that you want to talk about so that I can talk about it on this channel. And please subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and hit the like button and share it with other people who need to hear the message. I will be back again with a new message. I'm not sure if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I will try to be here tomorrow, but definitely on Thursday. And you guys continue to move forward and have a great day. And I will see you again soon. Bye for now. This is Lisa, shedding love and light to all. Thank you for being here.